Okay, so we continue with the third part of our energy efficiency seminar. So we stopped at this slide a while ago, and what I'm telling here is solar energy uh, can also power mass transits like our light rail transits, our MRTs, BRTs, bus rail transits, the PNR, bus terminals, and this is for the purpose of lowering the fares and help mitigate the traffic menace. No? Solar panels can be installed directly above catenary of the LRT MRT systems, and the energy produced could reduce the operating cost of the mass transport systems. Then the fare rates can be brought down to entice the commuters and motorists to take mass transit systems. This could result to traffic reduction and mitigation. Okay, so the upper picture here is our MRT3, and the middle one is the LRT1, the oldest, and the lowest is LRT2, the one coming from Recto to Santolan. Okay, so this is a possible traffic mitigation measure, no, by providing solar panels on the roof, and the energy that could be harvested from the sun will be able to help reduce the operating cost, and the savings could be used to improve the facilities as well as to reduce the fare rates. Okay, now here is a new slide, and this one shows the use of solar panels that would power up your deep well pumps, no? So this is for the domestic water supply. This video is credit to RPV solar pumps of RPV company. Okay, so green practices. The use of solar powered pumps for domestic use as well as for farm irrigation is now becoming more popular. Okay, now this next slide is my suggestion on how to maximize, optimize to have a sustainable green water supply system. So I list them down. Number one, rainwater must be collected, filtered, and stored. Okay, so rainwater is a very important resource which must not be wasted. When you do not collect it, then the water will just flow to the mountain sides, or flow to the rivers, to the creeks, and all the way down to the sea. So it's kind of wasted, no? So much as possible, we should collect it. Okay. Number two, rainwater should fill our firewater tanks, and also fill our domestic water tanks. Okay, and of course, for domestic water tank, we need a little filtration. But for the fire water tank, not really needed, because it's not for cleaning anyway. It's more for fire protection. No? Number three, surface rainwater runoff should also be collected. So every time it rains, this surface rainwater will just flow outside to the drainage, to the streets. It could even flood the streets. Okay, so we must also collect them. Number four, condensate from air conditioning units. This is the water that usually would come out of the air conditioning units from the outside of it, from the evaporator. So there's always that water that is dripping. So instead of just letting this condensate water, just flow elsewhere, we must collect it, include it also in the collecting tank. Okay. Number five, gray water from the septic tank should be sun filtered and stored. So gray water is the dirty water that is coming from the septic tank. No, the septic tank produces this gray water, and the present trend this water which will just flow to the drainage system. So we have to collect it, and filter it, and then it could be used for flushing the toilets again, or it could also be used to irrigate our garden and some other purposes. Of course, you cannot use it for washing. You cannot use it for, of course, domestic use. The only thing that you could use this for is, of course, um, the the flushing again of the toilets, and of course irrigation. But we have to be very careful. We have to mark those hose bibs that the water coming out of this hose bib is not potable, is gray water. Okay, number 6, gray water to be used for flushing toilets for irrigation. Okay, mentioned that already. Number 7, we have to use upfeed system with inverter type constant pressure pumps to distribute water upfeed or upstream. Okay, instead of using the old gravity type of water distribution system, we must use this upfeed type using the inverter. A very popular make or brand of this upfeed system is the Willow pumps, which is made in Germany, and today they also have a manufacturing plant in Korea. Okay, savings is as much as 80% of the energy consumption of a conventional water pumping system. Okay, number 8, use solar energy to power up the pumps. So instead of simply using power from the grid, we should put up solar panel on the roof, which should be the one to supply power for your inverter or constant pressure pumps, and thereby reducing further our consumption from an outside source. Okay, now to show it by schematics, so here we have a system. On the left side is several tanks. So this blue square is or rectangle is represents our rainwater tank. Of course, we must have an optimum volume for this, and we must have also a filter, so we get the water from the downspouts, from the roof, from the gutter to the downspouts, collector downspouts, until it goes to the rainwater tank. Okay, any excess of this rainwater tank could go to the gray water tank here on the right side, and the rainwater could fill up an adjacent fire water tank here. Okay, so beside the fire water tank, this blue tank is colored tank is a domestic water tank, and this domestic water tank is being filled up by water coming from the water company here. And here we have the meter and the water company. So your water company could be Manila Water or Maynilad, or a local water district like Laguna Water or Bulacan Water or whatever. Okay, so here we have two pumps indicating operation of water or pumping of water from the domestic water tank to the distribution system upstream using that equivalent constant pressure pumps that we already have discussed earlier. And here is fire water pumps in the middle tank. Okay, now we go to the right side of the slide. So here we have a septic tank. Here, septic tank with 3 chambers. So the first chamber is a digestive chamber, and the second one is the settling tank 1, and the number 3 portion is the settling tank number 2. Of course, we now have an innovation to provide a sun filter just after the outlet nozzle of the septic tank, settling tank 2. here, no? Sand filter. Sand filter should not be so deep so that it could easily be serviced, no? In case you need to uh, replace the sand filter into it, no? And here we have the gray water tank. This is the water that is already filtered using sand filter, and it could be used to for fire, okay, here, or it could be for irrigation, oh, I'm sorry, for water closets or for irrigation. Okay, so here we have the gray water tank. So now see, we have three water pumps or inverter pumps or constant pressure pumps. This gray water tank here, which has separate piping to the water closets, and here this pump here, domestic water pumps, going to the shower heads, to the kitchen sink, to the lavatories, and some other drains, no? And the fire water pumps. Okay, so let me go back to this. By the way, these three pumps should be powered by solar energy. So in other words, you have to put a solar panel on your roof, which would power up these three pumps, no? Gray water pump, domestic water pump, and your fire water pump. Okay? Here is a slide that shows you how you could probably collect rainwater by using the upper portion or upper sketch is using three drums connected together so that having this equalizing pipe, so it will allow filling up the three tanks, no? And the lower picture shows a bigger tank that would collect directly the water coming from the gutter, from the roof and the gutter there. Okay, so what am I saying here in the left side? As of the present, more and more urban centers and cities in our country like Quezon City, Mandaluyong, Cebu, Davao, Iloilo, among others, have taken the initiative to adopt and implement green programs that requires the installation and utilization of rainwater as harvesting systems. The Green Building Code prepared by the government through the DPWH is another program that shows a growing commitment and realization by our government and the benefits of this green technology. Rainwater harvesting not only saves money but also saves or helps mitigate urban flooding. Okay, here this slide shows another option. One good option is to re-inject rainwater to the underground well. So if you have a shallow well, you can collect the rainwater and then passes through this filtering tank or sand filter, and the water would be injected to the aquifer, okay, so that the aquifer will be replenished. Okay, otherwise if you do not collect it, then the water would just go to the sea, okay, which is becomes useless, no? The water in the well can be pumped up for domestic purposes. Okay, so this is a good way of again collecting water if you don't have a big tank. Okay, this is a more elaborate way of rainwater collection. As you could see, there is a tank here, underground tank, and there are pumps which would transfer the water here. Okay, so very elaborate, maybe expensive, but definitely in the long run it could pay for itself. And here is a way of filtering water in the garden. See, you would see here many plants in the garden, and water could go down here and then would flow here and will be filtered by this sun filter, and the water will also okay, go to this overflow filtration, and there is a small pump here which would allow the movement of the water here, there, to the hose, and therefore any excess after watering would go down again to this filter and back and forth and back and forth. Okay, and here is another scheme of collecting rainwater. So okay, very elaborative. And here is another one which uses PVC pipes designed to collect water. No, this portion here would act as kind of a filter, or one that would separate the dirt. Okay, this holds filtering device here. Of course, on the left is also possible way. Okay. Okay, so let's have a break.